Today's lesson is from Module 8, Lesson 2 on similar polygons. And so similar, this little symbol here, and the book uses it right down here, but this little symbol here means similar. So you need to make sure you understand that anytime they use that little, it's like the top of a congruent sign. All right, that means similar. Now, similar means alike. Not exactly the same, but alike. Well, they could be exactly the same. They're also similar then, right? But in geometry, you have a more exact definition. And so in geometry, we say it's this one, or I put it over here again, highlighted in yellow. Angles are congruent and sides are proportional. So that's going to become very, very important for the rest of the unit. What does similar mean? In class, I ask that probably 5 to 20 times a day, trying to drive that point home. What does similar mean? That means the angles are all the same and the sides are proportional. Right, so we know what the symbol is, and we know the definition. Hopefully you have those written down. And then the last thing, make sure you understand what proportional is. So when we say over here in this example that shape ABCD is similar to WXYZ, then I have to pair up the sides in a way that shows that they're similar. And so they use AB as their first two letters, and so AB would match up with the first two letters, WX. So the similarity statement has the matched shapes, or you can use a similarity statement to write these things. So AB is to WX. Now, it doesn't really matter whether AB is on top or WX is on top. You can have either one on top. Right? The thing that matters is if you put AB on bottom, so then all the bottoms have to be your ABCDs, and all your tops have to be your WXYZs. You have to stay consistent. And so I put WX on bottom, so I'm going to put my WXYZs on bottom the whole time, my ABCDs on top the whole time. So AB, the first two letters, goes over top WX, the next two letters. And then BC are my middle two letters. So that green line, BC, middle two letters, and XY, middle two letters, go together as well. CD, the last two letters, and YZ, the last two letters, go together as well. And then AD is the first and last letter, and WZ, the first and last letter, those go together. So make sure you know how to identify which sides are proportional. The next three slides are all old properties that we are just saying are still very relevant and very true in similarity. And so we have reflexive property. Remember, before, reflexive property was always something congruent to itself, all right, something equal to itself, and now we say that that still exists in similarity. Something is, triangle ABC is similar to triangle ABC. They're the same, they're similar to each other. Symmetric property is basically saying, you can do it either way. So if ABC is similar to DEF, then you can reverse it. DEF is also then similar. We like this. If you think back to like in algebra, x equals 2 is the same as 2 equals x. All right, we like this. We like this even more in similarity because if you think of scale factor, let's say this was 4 and this was 2, or let's say 5 and 2. So I could say 5 over 2, or I could say 2 over 5. So the scale factor can be written either way. So it kind of doubles the right answers. So that's what we like it here in similarity. And transitive property hasn't changed, except for now, instead of being exactly the same, all right, they're just similar. And so now ABC is similar to DF, so those two are similar. And XYZ is similar to DF. So even though you're not comparing these two, you compared them both to DF. Because they're both similar to DF, they are similar to each other. And example 1. So the homework is going to begin with all these problems that are just like this. And what it does is just gives you a similarity statement. And so, I just rewrote that statement larger right here. And so first you got to identify all the angles. Well, the angles match up by the letter. So angle A is the same as angle P. Angle B is the same as angle Q. Angle C is the same as angle R. Angle D is the same as angle S. And then the sides you have to write as ratios. And so the first two letters AB, AB goes with PQ. And then BC goes with QR. RS, RS are the last two letters, and CD would go together. And then AD or DA, AD goes with PS, or you could say SP. So you're just going to identify the three congruent sides, and in this case, the four congruent angles and the four proportional sides. Okay. And so if you try it right now, what angle is congruent to angle F? Hopefully you said angle J. Angle G is congruent to angle, okay? Angle H is congruent to angle L. Now, it wouldn't matter whether you put FGH on top or JKL on top, except for they've already put KL on top and FH on bottom. And so we're going to put all the FGH letters on bottom, all the JKL letters on top. And so what would make sense to be the first sides that we're going to say are the first ratio? And it's going to be JK. Sorry, I started to put FG, but it's not FG, it's JK, because they put the JKLs on top and FG. And then what would go underneath of KL? Hopefully you said GH. And FH means that JL would be on top here. So this is triangles, so three congruent angles, three proportional sides. Now we're going to determine whether they're similar. If they're similar, remember, there has to be two things. Angles have to be congruent, sides have to be proportional. And so I see here, angle N is congruent to angle R, Q is congruent to S. Those little marks mean congruent. And I have third angle theorem says P is congruent to C. If two angles are congruent to two angles, the third angles are automatically congruent. And so the angles are congruent. It's already true. Angles are congruent. To test the sides, I got to pair the sides. So NQ is 12.5. 12.5 and RS is 10. I then do the next one. QP is 11.5. QP goes with ST is 9.2. And then NP is 15. And NP goes with RT is 12. And so I take a calculator. If you have a graphic calculator, 12.5 divided by 10, math, enter. Math, enter will simplify the fraction for you. If you do 12.5 divided by 10, you get 1.25. All right, so you could tell me that it's 1.25 every time. I would take that if you're working from home. I would like you to get math, enter if you're working in the classroom and tell me that it's 5/4. You do 11.5 divided by 9.2, you get 1.25, which is 5/4. All right, 3 goes into 15 5 times, 3 goes into 12 4 times, so they're all 5/4. And so that means you have shown the sides are proportional. So you explain, you have to show this work. This work is the explaining. Angles congruent, sides proportional. And then you would say triangle NQP is similar to triangle RST, or maybe you'd say yes. That's true. And so here are the angles congruent. Two angles and two angles. Third angle theorem, angles are fine. So now you got to match up the sides. Right? I want to do 3 over 2.25. Now, I used ABC on top because it said to go ABC to LMN. There's really kind of two right answers to this equation, but they tell you to go in a certain order. And so that's why I want to do it this way. All right, and so then I'll do 7 over 5.25 and 9 over 6.75. Now, how do I know how to pair up the numbers? Again, LM would go with AB, or AB would go with LM. based on the first two letters. Or, if I'm looking at just the numbers, the smallest one goes with the smallest one. The middle one goes with the middle one. And the biggest one goes with the biggest one. Right? I type those into a calculator. I get 1.3 repeating every time. So they all reduce to 4/3. And so then you would say, yes, you've shown your work. And it's 4/3. Now we're going to use similar figures to find measures. And so just looking at this here, they had the Y. Where was the Y? The Y was down here on YZ. I highlighted it in yellow. And then I highlighted RS in yellow. Y. YZ is the last two letters. RS is the last two letters. And so I would put those two together. And then this is where the other number was given to me. So I'm going to use that side, WZ, and SP. WZ first and last. All right. And SP first and last. All right. And now I just chose to put the Y on top. You could have put the 6 on top. Doesn't matter. 5Y minus 2 over 6. I paired the yellow sides together. Now, because I put 5Y minus 2 on top, I have to put 16 on top from the same shape. If I put 6 on top, I would have to put 12 on top. So 5Y minus 2, left on bottom 6, right. So I went left to right. So I got to go left to right. 16 over 12. Then hopefully you remember that you cross multiply. And so you get 12 times 5, Y minus 2, and 6 times 16, which is with the step they have right here. 6 times 16 is 96. 12 times 5Y, you have to distribute it. 12 times 5Y is 6Y. 12 times 2 is 24. You would then add 24 to both sides and divide by 60 on both sides and get Y equals 2. So I first I want to work with the Y. The Y is right here. VZ. VZ, first and last, goes with AF. And then I'm going to use this side because it has a number. YW, all right, goes with CD. And so now that I know how I pair things up, I'm going to put 3. Now, I just like putting the Y on top. You don't have to. You can put 12 on top. Either way. If you put 12 on top, though, 9 goes on top. I put 3Y minus 1 on top, so 6 goes on top. Cross multiply. 9 times 3 is 27Y. 9 times 1 is 9. 6 times 2 is 72. Add 9 to both sides. Add 9 to both sides. 27Y equals 81. Divide by 27Y equals 3. Hopefully that helped you learn some things. Give them a try. I forewarn you, no, I think it's actually a pretty good assignment. 2 through 14 even. And number 20. 8's the tricky one here. On 8, let me just give you a quick help. On 8, you get this where you have angles that are marked congruent and sides that are marked congruent. And so you have to remember this old rule, side angle, side congruence. And so 8, yes, they're similar because they're exactly the same. So the ratio is 1 to 1, and it's because of side angle, side congruence. All right, I really will probably avoid mixing and matching congruence and similarity in the future. We did that one yesterday in class, and so I know that's the trouble here. And so hopefully it helps you with number 8 from the homework assignment.